And welcome to another edition of Thoughts of the Roundtable with me, Matt Rebar.
And my name is Paul Laux.
And we're just blowing out your ears right now.
And I gotta say, man, I was thinking about this all day today. I wanted to talk to you about this. Welcome to fall.
Oh,
finally.
Yes, dude.
Finally.
Libra season, pumpkin season.
Because last week, well, technically it's been fall for like a month now?
September 23rd, yes.
But we're here in Cleveland, and for the last week it was 90-some degrees?
October 1st. It was like 90 degrees. Yeah, it was a record-breaking.
So now, welcome to Han Solo season, as I like to call it.
Light sweater season.
Do you get that, the Han Solo season? Have you seen that recently?
No.
How girls dress with the vests and the high boots and the black leggings, and so they look exactly like Han Solo.
I love that. We're gonna have to do some pictures and describe that.
But I have officially heard someone say the most annoying thing ever.
Yes, which is
I enjoy Ohio for the seasons.
Who said that?
I've heard that so many times lately.
Listen, there's a couple reasons to like Ohio, but the seasons is not one of them.
Well, my family is huge in living in like the desert. I swear to God, we'd be like a cult
you love
living
cactuses.
out in the desert. Yeah, cacti, my friend.
Oh,
and so I was talking to, I think it was about a week ago. I forgot who it was, but I was talking about how I have a friend in town who's from Arizona, and I was talking to him about it. And I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to move out there, and he was like, well, it's not all it's cracked up to be, because trust me, 110 for like 4 months on end does get old. And somebody who was with us said, yeah, but Ohio, we get all the seasons. I'm like, bitch, who wants like 10 feet of snow?
Listen, when the seasons are good in Ohio, they're good. Like the foliage, beautiful. Like the light snow, cute.
Right.
You know, when it's a nice summer day or a nice sunny day, like, yeah, perfect. But like, you also get those extremes, like last week, 90 degrees on October 1st.
Right. And the transition times, you always get sick. Like when you're fall going into winter.
Oh, yeah.
You try to remain staying in the shorts like my dumbass is, then you get sick. Or then you're spring going into, or winter going into spring, then you try to bust out the light clothes too early and you get sick again. So this is just me ranting. Also, I'm not excited to look for, plowing 10 feet of snow.
Oh, yeah, right. The thing about the weather is like, okay, no volcanoes, minimal earthquakes, no hurricanes, right? No, like minimal tornadoes.
That was actually
like,
something I brought up too.
No
it's like
flooding.
Here in the Midwest, we are like the safest part of... speaking of, there was an article that came out about a week ago, and a huge thing now is all the climate change, stuff like that. And I forgot who did it, but it was some university, and they found like the perfect place in the country to avoid
global warming effects?
Like any really major effects of global warming.
Which is?
Where do you think? I'll give you one guess.
I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to say like South Dakota.
It's in the Midwest. It's the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Really?
And they said that is the best spot to avoid like the major effects.
And why is that?
It's kind of like in this latitude and longitude where like, and the geographic area of it where the Great Lakes aren't going to be, obviously the glacier's melting, but that's like extreme climate change when it gets to that point. But like, it's pretty much nestled in this area where it's not going to be run over by oceans. It doesn't really have the, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, any of that crap. And it's got a kind of like, it's cold as hell. Yeah. But it's got like a temperate climate overall. So if you want to avoid it, go to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
For all those who are preparing for the apocalypse and listen to Thoughts of the Roundtable with Matt Rebar and Paul Laux, then it's a great time.
I agree, a great place to survive the apocalypse too, because no one's really around there.
It'd be very peaceful,
I also saw this thing where
the nuclear
10% of people have a zombie apocalypse plan in place.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't.
But then I thought about it. I was like, what defines plan? Because mine technically is, I don't care. I don't want to live through that. So you do whatever you want. But
that's going to be intense. I feel like, you know what? I feel like I would be totally down to butcher zombies. Like once I'd have to get like a taste for it. But
it depends on the zombies. Are we talking about the really fast, strong ones? Or are we talking about the
zombies
ones?
Zombies in general are slow, right? They're slow to react.
Well, but then there's what is the one that's on Netflix right now? That huge one. I forgot what it's called.
Oh, iZombie? Is that what the one?
Nice.
No, it's like am zombie. Like,
wait, are you for real?
Are you talking about? Is it Black Friday or
something? Black Summer.
Black Summer.
Those are fast zombies.
Listen. I started it, but only watched the first 2 episodes, and something came out. Oh, I started watching Game of Thrones.
What's the one with the Z?
I think it's iZombie, dude.
No,
I don't know.
There's no iZombie. But those are fast zombies in that show. Mm-hmm. And you can get effed up because I'm not a fast guy. I got bad knees. I'm going to be taken out immediately.
Stop it. The bad knees.
There's a local comedian who, Mike Polk Jr.,
Yes, I've seen him live.
He was in one of his sets that I saw. He has actually the greatest idea for a zombie apocalypse. He goes, screw it. He goes, I'm just going to be a zombie. He's like, but what I want to do is like, I want to become like the juggernaut of zombies. He's like, so what I'm going to do is like put on all this armor and then douse myself with gasoline and then get bit. He goes, so then when I become a zombie, I'm going to be like this armored clad zombie that when you shoot just sets on fire.
That is messed up. Wouldn't you just look for high ground? Can like zombies successfully climb?
It depends on the zombies, because remember that movie with Brad Pitt? These
oh yeah.
Remember they're climbing that retention wall?
Yeah.
It's based on the book. Oh my god, that's the one with the Z.
We gotta figure. When it happens.
World War Z. That's what
there you go. When the zombie apocalypse, if it happens, you just gotta like find the weakness. Like every different zombie, they have a weakness. Like some can't swim, some can't climb, and whatever that is, we just have to exploit it.
Yeah, whatever it is. But how do we get from going from the fall season to?
I don't know, because when I think of fall, I think of pumpkin spice lattes and zombies.
What do you do? Do you like fall? How do you prepare?
Well, I do because I'm a Libra. I have my birthday.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because October baby. I'm an October baby. I love October.
I'm a November baby.
Yeah.
By the way, happy birthday. It was a couple days ago.
Yeah, well,
I texted
yesterday.
you and you didn't really respond.
I did. I said thank you so much.
But then you texted me something about business. I'm like, we don't need to deal with business today.
Okay, but like, you know me. Business is everything. But like, people are like, oh, you can separate the personal from the business. I'm like, no, it's all one thing for me. It's like, hey, great, I'm doing great, and I'm thinking of you, by the way, blah, 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 blah. That's me. You know, to see.
All right, do you want to move on to the not the news?
Yes,
news?
not the news.
I got
news
some
with
good
Paul.
ones.
What's going on?
Well, first of all, have you ever? I need you to be honest with you. Have you ever considered yourself a social media influencer?
Oh God, no! Because
you've never been that guy.
I gag at the idea.
Because I did see you post something on Facebook yesterday about like dates of when you're doing stuff.
Okay,
which I was like bored on. Like,
okay, here's the thing. It was
like
I get
photoshopped
asked, I do
and
get
edited.
asked by people like, oh, like because I do a lot of different things.
Yeah, you're known around Cleveland. I'll give you that.
Okay, known around. Let's
in our
call.
Circle of friends.
I'm known by like 3 people in Cleveland. I've been hosting trivia nights, so I do that twice a week now. And I've also been flirting a little bit with, what have I been flirting with? Oh, stand-up. I've been doing stand-up. And there's a couple other things that are being worked on right now that are in the books that I don't want to talk about. Because
is it a book?
Well, I mean, I've written books, but no, one of them is in the film realm, and one of them is going to be in more event hosting. So there's just like a lot going on. People will be like, oh, like blah, blah, blah. Like, so I wanted to try and do a cute way of like, not be like, hey, look at me, but just like, hey, here's some stuff that I'm doing. You know, like I'm doing, in the next couple months, I'll be doing a lot of shows for stand-up and for trivia.
This just sounds like a long explanation about why you're not a media influencer. And
because here's the thing. I don't want to influence people in the sense of like, buy this product.
Okay, I get
like,
that.
Oh, you have to be like this. If anything, I want to be like an entertainer, and I think that's more of like my wheelhouse.
Ooh, man.
Also, random. We can talk about this later. My Myers-Briggs personality changed.
How does that change?
Well, I retook the test, and I went from being an ENFJ to an ENFP.
I forgot what I was. I'd have to do that again.
Oh my God. Next time on Thoughts of the Round. We can go and do it next time.
Why don't we do this? Take the test, and then next time we'll talk.
Yeah, well, I have to read more about the new personality test I am. I think I have a theory of why it changed over the last 3 or 4 years. We'll talk next week.
I'll take mine, and the next episode we'll go with.
On the next episode of Thoughts of the Roundtable.
So anyways, back to the social media influencer. First of all,
I hate the word. I
hate those people, to be honest.
Yeah. It's like young professional. I hate the word young professional.
The people who talk about it are the people who have like 1,000 followers. It's like, it's not that big a deal. But finally, this airline fought back. This is great. It was over in Europe. They handle shit differently. They really do. And sometimes I can't knock their game. And so there was I've never really heard of this airline, but that doesn't matter. This guy went onto the plane.
Yeah.
He bought a seat and claimed he was a social media influencer. He was in coach. He was like in the back or whatever.
Yeah.
And he demanded they upgrade him for free because he's a social media influencer. Now, what do you think their reaction was to this?
They're like, sir, we just want to serve salty peanuts. And
either one,
fly to Prague.
I'll give you a couple options. Okay. One, they just didn't give it to him and he flipped out and got arrested. Okay. 2, they gave it to him. Okay. 3, they banned him for life. Which one did they get? Which one happened?
I'm going to go with he flipped out and got arrested.
Nope, he got banned for life.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Just from
They
inquiring?
banned his ass for life
Wait,
because
wait.
he started yelling at the ticket agents that he was a social media influencer and deserved to be upgraded for free. So they canceled his ticket and banned him for life.
Wow. That is edgy. I respect that.
Do you knock that game? I would fly in that airline so many times now because of that.
Oh, yeah. Well,
oh my God.
You know what it reminds me of? There's a South Park episode where everyone in town's a Yelp reviewer.
I don't watch South Park that much. I feel like I should.
Well, this is a great episode because it makes fun of like everyone's like, yeah, I'm a food reviewer, and they're like everyone in town's posting to Yelp.
Yeah.
And so the businesses strike back, but then the Yelp people get pissed because they're like, I'm an influencer, and so it basically ends with like this mockery of like, okay, like everyone needs to calm down. Like it's different. It's like we're all on Yelp, right? But then when we take it to this point where we're like, look how influential I am, it's like, dude, no. Like here's what I think of what I do is like.
Like Jimmy Kimmel's influential, not your dumbass.
The thing is, like, people are always like, oh, well, you post a lot about yourself. I'm like, I like to do things. I like to do this podcast with you.
Yeah.
I do the sitcom podcast. I like to do stand-up and host trivia and make projects and release music and whatever else I'm doing. I just like to create things. And I'm glad just to be able to be like, here it is. And if a couple people like it, great, and whatever. So, I don't know. I don't like people who say that, I'm an influencer, but they don't have content. At least I have content.
Yeah,
like if I wanted to claim that, like, I'm influencing people, it's like, okay, well, he's doing things. There's some people that it's just like, here's a photo of me on the plane, and like, that's what is that influencing?
You know, there's actually companies out that have popped up that will help, like specifically like restaurants, fight bad Yelp reviews.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because let's be honest, Yelp reviews in restaurants are the only time you're doing that is when you had a bad time.
Yeah.
That's why when I see like a 1 out of 5, it's like,
But like, here's the truth too. Like, how many times have you used Yelp to seriously decide where you're going?
I've never used. I have.
Okay.
I do. I will admit, I do look at it when I'm like, I flew to I was in Utah earlier this year in Salt Lake City, and I use that as a tool to guide.
Yeah. See, to me,
idea
when I
mostly for prices though.
Okay. Yeah.
Mostly for.
I was
prices.
gonna say, when we're in, like, let's say we're in Columbus and, we're like, where do we want to go? I either call friends or text from, I don't call.
I'm not going to do it with
friends.
the place around here I know.
Well,
I mean, I've never been to Utah, so I'm like, let's see what the general thought of.
But I'll go on Google Maps and I'll search that way. And you know what, really for me, it's the food and the pictures of the food and then the price. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll look at the pictures and the pictures look bad. It's like, oh, that's the turn.
Or the neighborhoods. Sometimes I've been to some. Well, no, because I was in St. Louis and I went to this place in the hood, but damn it was the best Philly cheesesteak I ever had in my life.
Well, you know what? You know how people are like, oh, don't judge a book on its cover? I think that's the biggest malarkey ever. It's like a good book cover might convince me to read the book.
Right.
A bad book cover, like, ooh. Especially because there's just so many books these days.
It's just natural.
There's so many restaurants. If you have bad photos of your food, like, there's a restaurant right next to me that's going to have
the
good
one thing that
photos.
bugs me, if you're a restaurant, please put your menu on a website.
Yeah.
Also, don't be that restaurant that puts their menu on the website, but it conveniently doesn't have the prices on it. Don't be that.
Yeah, I don't like that
Even
either.
if it's like, and usually it's restaurants that are like not that expensive.
Yeah.
Like a $10 burger, which is average, and they still don't put it on
Just
there.
going to business, just like helping small restaurants have their Weebly.com websites.
I could set these up. Maybe I'll do that.
Easy. Oh my God, you should freelance.
There you go.
Anyway, tell me more, not in the news.
Have you ever been to jury duty? Gotten called for it?
I haven't, and I want to go so bad.
I got called. I've only been called one time, and I had this argument with my family the other day because they're like, "I'm not going to vote anymore because I don't do jury duty." I'm like, "It goes by." I was like, "Well, first of all, it goes by your driver's license now, not your voting record, so you're still into it."
Yeah, have fun.
But I got called for jury duty once, dead of winter. Wasn't that bad? I ended up putting on a trial that was a 6-day trial.
Are you Cerise?
Well, this is what happened. It's actually kind of a funny story.
Oh my God.
So I've known a bunch of people who've gone to jury duty, and they even tell you your chance of getting called are pretty minimal. Like that's
That's the
like
thing, though. Like, I've never got called, and there's people who like get called every other day.
Yeah. Well,
What is that?
I don't know, because once you go, you can't go for another 2 years. They won't draw you for another 2 years.
Really? Who are they drawing then? Shouldn't I have been called by now? Like, I've had my license since I was 18. Like, this is like going on
My brother went like
7
a
years.
long time without. But
I want to be called. I really do.
So I got called to go to jury duty, and I've known a bunch of people who've gone. And like I said, your chance of getting out of trial actually aren't that high because 9 out of 10 times they'll settle out of.
Well, what they do is,
settle out
and
of
this is the
court.
sociologist to me, they will stack the charges up, and they'll be like, well, you have a possibility of being convicted on all 6 of these charges, life with no parole. or you settle for the 20.
Yeah.
And for people who are like definitely guilty, it's like, okay, they're like, okay, I will take the 20. But it also sucks because like if there are people who are innocent, or maybe like someone did commit one crime, but they're being stacked up with these other crimes. That's what I don't like.
Charge
like,
stacking is a thing.
Well, it's designed to make you plea. That's what it's designed to do. And that to me, like, it's like, okay, if someone did kidnap and steal and do this, yeah, that's applicable. But if someone like did one thing and then you're stacking them just because they're in the relative hood of each other,
right?
That I feel like is unethical.
Side note: did you see Brendan Dassey applied for clemency?
Oh God,
in the state of Wisconsin.
Oh, he's not going to get it though, is he?
It depends on the governor.
It's all political though.
I don't know.
Because you're going to have half the people in Wisconsin who are like, yeah, set him free.
The only problem with that is that's admitting your guilt.
But he's not guilty.
That's the problem. Clemency is basically saying, okay, I did this, but I feel like I've done enough time. That's basically what clemency is.
I know. But, I mean, at that point, that is a rough situation.
Well, they've run out.
Did you watch Making a Murderer Part 2?
Yeah, I wasn't as big of a fan.
I didn't watch it, but I listened to a podcast that covered it. Which was kind of funny because like they kind of had fun with it a little bit. And it just, to me, it's like, how do you watch all of this as just like a person or even connect to the case and not be like, dude, there's nothing.
If I'm not mistaken, the main prosecutor of Stephen Avery's he's in prison now, I think, or at least he got in a lot of trouble for
the old one.
Yeah, that Kratz guy. I think
Ken Kratz. Because he talks like this.
Yeah. Because he
he's like, we think that he's pretty guilty. Yeah, that guy.
He had sex with witnesses to bribe them.
Well, what he was doing was, this is terrible.
Wasn't he sending like sexting people?
He was sexting people who like he was basically like putting away like an abused husband.
Yeah.
Or like an abusive husband of this girl, and was like, don't you like hanging out with like that's his voice. Don't you like hanging out with the prosecutor? Like, I'm so hot, blah blah blah. Like, I'm such a bad boy.
And then also, I think it was Brendan's defense attorney. It was like the shittiest defense attorney.
Oh
ever.
no,
like
his
they
defense
broke it
attorney
down.
was like, oh sweetie, like you did it. Sorry.
All right, I'm on a tangent. So anyway,
actually, that would be a really good stand-up piece. The gay defense attorney. Your Honor, please. Anyway,
so let me finish my jury duty story. So yeah, I get called in. So I go in Monday morning to do jury duty, and literally the first case they draw, I'm on it.
Really?
First one. Like, I was sitting down, I had my laptop, my book set up. I was like, I'm not gonna get called all day. I think I was just gonna sit there for 2 days and go home. Mm-hmm. Literally the first one, I was picked.
Really?
So then they have to go through the jury selection.
I was gonna say, they're like, are you gonna be biased against whatever?
Crap, it's nuts. Like, this was a domestic dispute and a sexual assault case. It was crazy because all the jurors are sitting next to each other. Yeah. I am not making this up.
Oh, people will be very honest.
They go through and ask, and the prosecutor looked each one of his eye and was like, "Have you ever been raped?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, you just asked that in front of it's like you got to answer. It's like, damn.
Well, because the sad truth is what they'll say is, oh well, you're too close to the case if you have been sexually assaulted because like you're gonna automatically assume or they'll do that with it, which is just like, okay, but there's plenty of people who are gonna be biased even if they have, you know what I mean? They're gonna be biased no matter X or Y. So it's rough, man. Because they'll take 120 of you and then they'll narrow it down to 12 or
no. They take I think they took 16 and down to 20 or 16 down to 12. They can only get rid of 2 each.
Oh, that's so you. They didn't care about you. They thought you were a good bet for both sides.
Yeah, well, the problem was they excused the person on my right and left. Oh. They liked my dumb ass for some reason.
They were like, he seems like he'll vote with the others.
And long story short, 6-day trial. Mm-hmm. We acquitted the guy. He ended up not doing it because she admitted that she had made the whole thing.
And that's another frustrating thing is
long story.
People are like, we have a huge problem in this country where we don't believe victims. Mm-hmm. The truth of the matter is 94% of people are telling the truth. It's that 6% that looks bigger than what it truly is. And what's even more funny is across all crime, people who lie, it's the same 6% of cases. And it was like if you were to lie about your laptop being stolen, that you'd be in that 6% of people who lie. So like we just have this huge misthought that like, oh, there's so many.
Well, it was clear this was, and I feel bad saying anything like this, but it was clear it's just people who were just kind of troublemakers. Yeah. Like you could kind of tell it was just those who were always, their rap sheets were 20 pages long. Ugh. And it was just kind of, it was a mess. Yeah. But anyways.
It's just a shame because like that one story will, you'll have people on that jury
Right.
who are like, well, now I don't believe victims.
Well, it wasn't anything like that. It was like the sexual assault was like a urination thing. Like she said, like he had like dumped a gallon of pee on her, and that was
Wait, a gallon of pee?
yeah. She said
What kind of
yeah,
R. Kelly
and that was
story is
that was
this?
considered a sexual assault. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, so that's what it was, and
but who saves a gallon of their pee to dump on someone for revenge?
it was actually her pee, and she dumped it on herself. That's what it ended up. It was really weird.
Oh
it was
my
a
God.
really, really weird case.
So no, I haven't done jury duty, but
So
I want
that's
to.
yeah.
I'm
9 out
waiting.
of 10 times I think they're like most like asbestos in building cases like that, or like rent crap. Like that's a lot what it is.
They're gonna grill me. They're gonna be like, "We have evidence of you in this podcast saying that you believe the system's corrupted. Is that true?" I'll be like, "Well,
To be honest, to be honest, like watching the whole like court system play out, it was pretty cool, and it made me actually have like confidence in like the Cleveland judicial system.
See,
like it was
working-
really kind of cool, and
Yeah.
like
when I
watch it
interned
play
at
out.
the drug court, it made me definitely feel better. There are people working on behalf of the system.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who believe, like nonviolent drug offenders deserve rehabilitation. They don't deserve to be in prison. And, the idea that there is perspective to some of these cases, that it's not
Yeah.
always black and white, that it's not always innocent and guilty or what have you. But at the same time, there are some people who use the system for their own personal jack off.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool to see how streamlined and like I love the judge. She was awesome.
Dude, I love strong females in anything.
Well,
Like,
the
judges, stand-up comedians, like I'm like, you are a strong woman, and I love it. I'm here.
No,
for it.
she didn't take shit, and it was awesome. And then ironically, she was up for a re-election like the next month. I was like, hell yeah, I'm voting for you.
Vote for her.
But anyways, so going back to the original
Yeah.
story, there was a guy around here actually who he slept in accidentally on a second day of trial. He was
Yeah, and he got 10 days.
10 days in prison.
But apparently, this is the same judge. I've seen stories. This judge is like terrible. Like he sentenced a 16-year-old kid for like I don't know what the crime was, but basically to life. And like we're trying to move away.
It's like a murder?
I don't know if it was even a murder, but even if it was a murder, a 16-year-old kid, it's like, dude, for life, no parole.
I thought there was laws against that.
They're supposed to be. I don't know if it's state or federal. They're trying to.
well,
But
eventually,
it's the same thing with Adnan Syed from Serial. He was sentenced when he was technically 17, or the crime he committed when he was 17, and he's still life with no parole. And it's like, well, hello.
there is I haven't kept up with it. It was earlier this year. There's a 10-year-old in Wisconsin who's charged with first-degree murder. A 10-year-old.
Was that the one with the friend? Like
She
you hear
killed
him all the
she
time.
killed a infant in daycare.
Oh god!
Because it was crying.
And she just didn't know how to handle it, or was it? Do they think it's more so like psychopathic?
Well, it's been hung up in courts because they literally have no idea what to do with it. It's like because technically, I guess in Wisconsin, like first degree murder, like it's basically life without parole.
But it's
like,
a child.
But it's a well. That's why they like.
Yeah.
They're like, but do you go to juvenile? It's like this is a horrific thing. It's like,
Yeah.
do you blow it off in juvenile and set that precedent, or do you push it forward? Like they just have like
No,
literally
you
no
put her
clue
in
what to do.
juvenile and you get her the help she needs, and then you release. I mean, there's some cases though that they'll keep the kids. They're 16, 15. They'll keep them in juvie in detention until they're 24 or 25.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, depending on the crime, okay, maybe, but like even that feels like shoot, man.
I don't know. There's
Like-
some sticky. That's why I could never be a judge.
I
I could never do it. I'd be like up all night, like thinking like, damn, did I like do this right or think
Yeah.
about this right?
I started reading this book and then I stopped because I thought it was this book called The Psychopath Test, and I just couldn't get into it because the author is a journalist who also reads. It was an audiobook, and I just couldn't get into it, and I just found him a little pompous for my taste. But the part I listened to, he interviewed this guy who is in a UK mental prison. Oh, sorry about that. Messages. This guy's in a UK mental prison, and he pled out insanity. He was told to plead out insanity. He's not insane, or claims not to be insane.
Right.
He lied, so he's like, okay, he's been in the insane asylum for 12 years.
That's hard to get
and
the insane.
they don't believe him. They're like, no, you're just lying. You're crazy. You're
Oh my
insane.
God.
And it's just interesting to
Crime
think about.
podcasts and like crime stories get me just anxious.
I know.
Like I can't.
I get like,
Have you ever thought about just think about for a second, like if something happened today and tomorrow you have to spend the rest of your life in prison. Just think about that.
oh, well, that's why like people are like, oh, you could get convicted for anything, and I'm like, honestly, I'm so busy that like it's hard. Like I'm not one of those people who could be like, oh, here's pockets of time that like I was home alone. Like you know me, I'm always running
Yeah.
around. So like I feel really confident that like God forbid someone tries to frame me for something. It's like, dude, I was at work.
Well, it's something can happen at trivia night that someone could. Who knows?
True.
You never know. Anyways, let's bust this topic. Let's get some of your
not the news, my dudes. Okay, let's see what I got. Okay. This says, Aunt would like to impose a deadline on niece's overlong summer visit. Dear Carolyn, I agreed that our niece could stay with us over the summer with my husband. Now, Samantha, recent college graduate, she stayed with us before, but, not permanently. But now it's, now she and her husband, they have 2 kids in high school, middle school. School's back in session, obviously. Samantha has a low-paying part-time job, looking for full-time, considering graduate school. Samantha wants to stay until she, quote, gets on her 2 feet, but, her parents don't live in the States. She could easily rent a room with her peers. Why does she have to live with us? It's been over 3 months. We've been gracious. This girl, she's not doing anything to help. It's not even about the money or space. It's just, we're being responsible for this young adult. It just feels like this girl's having a summer vacation at the house. And,
is she working?
Part-time, but not full-time. And she's not really... It seems like she's not doing much to help around the house. And Carolyn's like, well, a deadline's not rude. It's your home. You could just say, no, please, you can't stay indefinitely. And maybe you got to be honest and direct. We've enjoyed getting to know you, but we just need to get our household back on its routine. And Samantha and Carolyn says, well, it's kind of weird that Samantha isn't driving or helping with the cooking or, maybe even errands. You think that if she could provide some needs for you and while you host, that you'd think that would be great, but why is that disconnect there? It would be great if she could be a part-time nanny or even just help out with some of the chores if she can't pay rent. And I agree. It's if I am hey, I need a place, can I stay here for a week or two? It's okay, just calm and courteous. But if you're spending a couple months, it's maybe you should pick up a little slack. Maybe stop at Dairy Queen and
anything.
Get some blizzards for everybody.
There's that fine line of being a guest and being a nuisance.
Have you ever been in a situation where you have pulled into the nuisance line?
What do you mean?
You've gone over for a party and then you're I'm becoming a nuisance. Or even staying at someone's place. I don't know. I feel I get very aware.
No, because like I said, I think I'm very aware. The only time I can think of maybe is when you're a kid at for a sleepover or something like that, and then you stay. Then you stay till 5 p.m. the next day. Yeah, maybe that. I want apple juice. But because I'm very. I think I'm very. At least I think I'm very self-aware of these things. Mm-hmm. Because I've had people become a nuisance at my house. Yeah. So.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
This one, okay, it's Dear Abby, and Abby, you fail me again. I can't sometimes with Abby. She just...
You've been over too, because last week you didn't like her either.
She's very hit and miss. She either is yes, on the nose, or she's out of the park.
Right.
It's I'd rather you just be consistently giving me grounders than pop fly and a grand slam. Ooh, look at me with my baseball lingo. Aren't you proud of me?
I am.
My father died 3 years ago. My parents were both close to his younger brother and his wife. Now, for the past 2 years, I have suspected that my mother and my uncle have been having an affair. They live in different states and they text a lot. She's left her phone open and the comments back and forth are very sexual. Oof. I became suspicious when my uncle came to visit, and my uncle and my mom took a trip together overnight. My mom asked me not to say anything about the trip that they had taken in front of the wife, so the uncle's wife. My mom, basically, she's been locking the phone. She has us worried, it's just weird. And the last time my aunt and uncle were over, Mom tried everything she could do to get my uncle alone. And I tried as hard as I could do not to let that happen. I feel like my aunt needs to know what's going on. I'm not sure how to approach this. My father had an affair once, so Mom should know that this would hurt my aunt. What should I do?
Oh, my God.
This is verbatim Abby's comment. What you should do is take a giant step back. Do not involve yourself in this potential mess, and do not be the bearer of bad tidings to your aunt. If you're going to talk to anyone, talk to your mother.
I kind of agree with that. I kind of think
she's
right.
Well, here's the thing. I do agree. Don't talk to the aunt. Go to the mom first.
Yeah.
But Abby's blowing this off. This has been a 2-year-long affair.
No, you don't need to get yourself involved with that. Absolutely not.
You wouldn't confront your mom on that? What are you doing?
Probably not. If I'm being totally honest.
I would confront.
I don't think I would. I'm not a very confrontational person.
I'm not either. I don't want, it's not like I would, here's the thing. If it was someone stole the cheese, that's, okay, who cares?
But right? I wouldn't need that shit in my life.
But it's just not healthy for anybody. I don't know. Like,
yeah, but it's also, you know, what is that famous saying? Not your circus, not your monkeys. Like, just forget about it.
What?
Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Okay, I'm writing that down because that might need to be the episode title. Not my circus, not my monkeys. You know what? I have a very functional, loving, caring, amazing mom. So, like, I can't imagine being in this position. But just kind of painting myself a picture, I just don't think I could be around that. I just think it's so messed up.
Yeah, I would just avoid it like the plague. I really would.
You know, like, I'd be like, deuces. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. Like that.
See, when I get into things like that, I tend to just to cut things off. Like, if you were to go rogue like this, I would just cut you off.
The worst thing, too, is, like, she says my father had an affair once, so my mom should know, like, how this plays out, how this goes. It's like, are you serious, man? And I don't know, maybe it's just losing your husband, but were they close? Like,
maybe you should just start vague booking about it.
Vague what?
Vague booking.
What's vague booking?
Posting a status on Facebook. It's like, I can't handle these people anymore.
Oh my god. Like subtweeting, but vague booking. Well, are you ready for this third one? This third one made me cringe. 2.5 months ago at an after-work happy hour, this is by askmanager.org, by the way, my favorite.
I love this one.
A bunch of us were discussing movies when the conversation turned to When Harry Met Sally, and from there to the scene when Meg Ryan simulates an orgasm. Some female employees, including multiple managers and people from several departments, then decided at happy hour to have a contest to see who could fake an orgasm the best.
Good lord.
Oh, it builds. I did not participate, but it was at happy hour, so whatever. But now it's a regular event called Fake It Friday. And just to make it worse, I work in customer support, and the noises are loud enough that I worry customers can hear them on the other side of the phone. Our headsets are sensitive. I know customers can often hear the sounds of people talking, but they never clearly enough to know what they're saying. But I've asked my manager to keep the noise down.
Wait, they just straight up do this in the office?
Yeah, they have it every Friday, Fake It Friday, and they all give their best, and I guess they nominate a winner or something.
Good lord.
Apparently, what they do is Kate, the manager, doesn't want it to stop because it helps the staff blow off steam. And she's like, I'm worried about our HR.
This is like an HR nightmare.
Well, she says, I'm worried about HR because it's generally not effective and, quote, we're all family. I just don't know what to do. And Alice is like, what the F and F?
Is this a wrong time to throw in the saying, fake it till you make it?
Wrong time, but funny. So Allison, and you know, this is where, to me, it's like, this is at work, and like, here's the thing. You're in customer support. You can't have that in the line.
There's some...
Even if you want to be like, well, like, we're just buddies at work doing it. It just feels...
And there's some... Let's be honest. We've been in the entertainment industry for a number of years, at least in some sort of fashion. We've seen some weird stuff.
Yeah.
And even I don't think even in that we've ever seen anything quite like this.
See, I think it'd be different to fake a sound here and there. But to have an actual competition with winners, like there's a circuit competition.
Like if it was a one-off at a happy hour and everyone was kind of drinking, it's like, whatever, you can just kind of forget it and don't talk about it again.
Exactly.
And then
the competition part is insane. The fact that managers are aware and they're like, well, it helps blow off steam. It's like, wow, that's the part where
what if they just start banging? Like, it's like,
well, and Allison says, listen, this is not... It's not normal. It's not appropriate. You're creating a highly sexualized environment that's not welcomed by everybody. It's definitely making some people uncomfortable. It's ludicrous to think that no one has addressed this. It's amazing that this didn't get old after like week 2, which is another point I agree. Like, is it that funny that every Friday they're faking orgasm sounds?
I mean, how different?
Like, how funny is that going to be? Come on. I just feel stupid. And she says it's also a legal problem. So she's like, there's a few factors. You could, kind of address the group. Hey, my customer's going to hear this while I'm on the phone with them. You need to stop.
Down, chill out.
Talk to your manager again, which I just don't know if that's going to work. She says, you know what? Go to HR. I know it sounds crazy, but, this is definitely a valid formal complaint. It sucks that you'd have to go to that point, but I think you're well within your right to. And, maybe you need to tell HR, like, hey, listen, this is a problem legally.
Right.
Like, because this goes against sexual harassment in the workplace, for sure. So, I mean, I have to admit, the best advice on this whole thing is, well, the funniest, I should say, is she's right. How is this still funny for them?
That is.
There's a weekly competition.
Yeah. And what if you win every week? Do you, like...
What do you get?
I mean, eventually that person is just like, all right.
I mean... If this happened at work, how would you react? I think at first I'd be like, okay, funny, whatever. But then, like, I agree. After week 2, it's like,
no, if
stupid.
It was, like I said, if it was a one-off thing that happened, it's like, well, it was weird. And then it just kind of never happens again. It's like, well, whatever.
I mean, it's just, dude, especially
the
when you're
repetitiveness
with customers,
of it.
It's like, hi, welcome to blah, blah, blah. In the background, it's like, ah. It's like, come on, dude.
I saw a person online who worked on a customer. This is kind of unrelated. The only thing is the customer service thing, but they worked at a call center. Mm-hmm. And what she would do is she would fake accents on each different calls just to change things up.
That's different.
Her managers found out and did not appreciate that. Like all of a sudden she'd have like an Indian accent and she'd have an Asian accent.
See, that's different. Like it's when I was serving, I used to kind of do different personas too. Like it's kind
would you like have like would you ever create characters? Be like, this table's gonna have this character. This one?
Kind of. I mean, when I was serving, you could just tell like some people just wanted the food, some people wanted the interactment, so you'd play it to your ear. I didn't really create characters in the sense of like, oh, howdy, or
Did
whatever.
you ever serve a table as Butch Matt?
Oh yeah, you play it up for certain crowds. Absolutely. I mean, and that's called masking. That's a masking theory. You put on the mask that people want from you, for sure. I know. Sociology, fun fact.
I actually remember that. I took all those classes.
Anyway, well, it's been a longer edition, 35 minutes.
That was fun though. It was a good
we
one.
had a good time. We went off the wall a little bit.
Got to take a personality test now.
Yes, next week we're going to be talking Myers-Briggs.
We'll dive into that.
You know what we should also do next week too?
What's
we haven't
that?
done this. Retroactive astrology.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, let's line that up.
Okay. So we'll see you next time. I'm Matt Rebar.
And I'm Paul Laux.
Peace out.
Later.